Hi, we're going to graph sine and cosine waves over a particular domain. Now, this says 7 pi over 2 less than x, less than or equal to x, less than or equal to 11 pi over 2. So what we want this to do is have a traditional looking sine wave and then just display it over this interval. So I'm going to show you some easier ways to do that. So 7 pi over 2, that's 3.5 pi. Now yesterday we graphed it out to 2 pi, and this is of course, what would that be, 5 pi over 2. So this interval from here to here is an interval of 2 pi. Okay? And that's kind of important to think about because, you know, this, you'll see what I mean when this all falls into the graph. So let me make my graph out, and this is going to go, you know, off to the right for a long way. So I'm going to really, really supersize that. Okay? I'm going to go a long way out through there. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start breaking this up into our traditional ways. Okay, so this would be pi over 2, and this would be pi, just like yesterday, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. So that, of course, was based off of our unit circle, and I can review that just real fast here. It's not really a problem to do that. In case you've been missing this stuff. This would, of course, be 0. It would be 1 0, 0 1, negative 1 0, 0 negative 1, and of course this would be 0 pi, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2. I'm going through that really quickly, and then of course 2 pi. So this is going to keep repeating, and this is a sine wave, which means that we're going to, you know, these points here are of the form cosine theta, sine theta, so we're going to be using the y values, 0, 1, 0, negative 1, and back to 0. So if we graph this just out to 2 pi, it's going to start here at 0. All right? And again, if you're like, what? Then you should probably look at this table again. It's of the form theta. This is cosine, or not cosine. That was yesterday. Sine theta. And theta here. This would be sine theta. And then we put our radians on here. 0 pi, pi over 2, pi. You can't see this enough. I mean, it's really important. 3 pi over 2, 2 pi. And then, of course, our coordinates that go along with that. 0 pi would be 0. Pi over 2 would be 1. Pi would be 0. 3 pi over 2 would be negative 1. And then we're back to 0 again. So let's go ahead and plot those on here. This would be our 1 and negative 1. So our next dot would be up here. And then we go down here and down here and back up here. So this graph, which I'm going to get creative and put that on a new layer, is going to go like this. Come down. Totally missed it. Do over. Going to come up. I'm going to cheat now and use this tool because it'll make better lines. Yes. Wow, I cannot make that. Let's do it one more time. Okay, so, and this is of course 2 pi. Someone said that looked like a 0. That's a 2 pi. So now this is what it's going to look like, and this is going to keep repeating. But we have to answer the question, what's it look like between this interval here? So what I would recommend, after you have this all set up, and after you do this a while, you're not going to have to do all this anymore. That nor that, you're not going to have to do that because you're just going to have that memorized. But if you don't, that's how you get that, and I wanted to show you that for the last time. So we're going to keep going out through here with our sections. Okay, I'm going to go out another 4 spaces. And you can see that this is just 1 half, 2 halves, 3 halves, 4 halves. So this would be 5 halves, 6 halves. What do we call 6 halves? 3. So that's 3 pi. So that's 6 halves, 7 halves. Now that's this one, right? Now we're getting somewhere. 8 halves, which is 4 pi. Let's keep going. Let's go out another 4. So now we have, what would this next one be? 9 halves pi, or 9 pi over 2. 10 halves, which is 5 pi. Next, 11 pi over 2. And then 6 pi, which is 12 pi over 2. Well, what we're interested in, and let's, okay, I know it goes from 7 pi over 2 to 11 pi over 2, so we are looking at this right here. Don't do that. We'll come back and make that way neater here in a minute. But we can kind of just take, and I'm going to use yellow for the continuation here. Our next point, because we know this repeats, would be up here. And then it would go down here, and down here, and back up here. So what we're doing here is another cycle, or a period. Okay? So we're going to go back up, as neat as possible, and then back up to here. Not even really worried about this interval until we're all done. And now we're going to do it again, and I'll do the next one in light blue, I guess. So the next dot would be up here, back down here, at 0, bottoms out here, and now we're back to here again. And so this is going to come back up, go back down, and come back up. So we have 3 wavelengths, okay, 3 cycles, 3 periods, all of that. But what we need to do is to divide this off, which I'm going to do. 7 pi over 2. So I'm going to make a big old bold line right down through there like that. There's 7 pi over 2. And here is 11 pi over 2. Boom. So this is what we are interested in. So on your graph, what they typically do when you look up these answers in the back of the book is they're going to have something that looks like this. They're going to have a little break in it. Now it's going to look like that, which means they're not going to display the entire thing. And they're going to go out and say, okay, my first mark will be 7 pi over 2, and then we'll go division, division, division. And so this would be like 7 pi over 2, that one, that one, that one, and that one. So we need to start with this and make 4 more afterward. And out here, this would be, of course, 4 pi. I'll make that as neat as I can. 9 pi over 2. 10 pi, which is 5 pi. And then 11 pi over 2. And so this graph, when you look this answer up, will look more like this. And it would start down here, go here, up here, down here, and then back down here. So it would go like that. So when you look your answer up, it's going to look like that right there. And I'm putting dotted lines on there just to show you that that's that interval. All right? But I'd say for the first few that you do this, and sometimes they'll ask you to go out negative, and you just do it backwards. You just count backwards out the negative numbers. But this is just an interval of halves. 1 half, 2 halves, 3 halves, 4 halves, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up until you don't have to go any farther. And I think this is one of the hardest problems tonight, and I hope that made sense. If it didn't, go back and watch it again. See ya.